Hello everyone, I'm ExxotikGaming and today I am back with another Pixel Gun 3D video. In today's video, we will be reviewing the brand new 11.1.1 Halloween update melee weapon known as the Sword of Shadows, one of the coolest melees in the game. Now, before I get into this review, I do want to say that on Monday, I posted my very first Battlefield 1 video, and I think it turned out absolutely fantastic. If you want to watch something on my channel that is a little bit different from my average videos that I post, definitely check it out. It's a great game. I'll link that video down below in the description for easy access, but with that being said, let's get right into this review. So like I said, this is one of the newest weapons currently in Pixel Gun 3D, and it already shows signs of being one of the most powerful ones out there that is currently available. Really Soft gives the Sword of Shadows a grade of Legendary, and that means that not too many people have this weapon as of right now. Although I do truly believe after this video goes out, a lot more people will be buying this weapon in the near future. This weapon has an efficiency of 24, and even though this weapon is new, that puts it up there as the 4th highest efficiency out of a melee weapon in Pixel Gun 3D, tied with the Stormhammer, and we all know how powerful the Stormhammer is, so we can assume this weapon is pretty powerful. This weapon also has a 110 mobility and a 95 attack. However, the 95 attack is a number that can change. A lot of you might be a little confused as to why this number can actually change with this weapon. It doesn't make sense that a melee weapon can have a varying attack. And the reason that this weapon can have that is because of one of its two very cool features. This weapon has two very unique special features that very few other weapons in Pixel Gun 3D have. In fact, one of its special features is an ability that 0 weapons have in Pixel Gun 3D. This is the only one that has it. And before we get into that one, we're going to talk about the one that only a couple of other weapons have, and that's that little bar you can see down there at the bottom of my screen. The charging ability. The only other weapons that have this are obviously the charge rifle and the charge cannon, and that basically means that you can basically charge up your shot with this weapon, and depending on how long you hold down the little swinging button, that will determine how powerful one single shot of this weapon will be. So the longer you hold down your swinging button, the more powerful one single shot with this weapon will be. So there are two different ways you can use this weapon. The first way is a much more aggressive approach where you're going to swing it as fast as you can possibly swing it with that 95 attack speed and not have all that much power with one single shot. You can see that one single shot doesn't do all that much damage with it. Or you can do it the more tactical approach like I do, where I put all of my trust in one single shot and hope that with that one single shot charged to the absolute max, will be able to take the person out. And as you guys can see, if you can make that one shot land on the enemy player's head, it will be a one-shot headshot to even the max armored players. Now, the other very cool special ability, which I think is one of the coolest abilities out there currently in Pixel Gun 3D that is new in this update and something that I can easily see will be coming with other weapons in the near future, is the Invisibility Ability. The Invisibility Ability is exactly what we can expect, and I'm actually stuck right now. That's very weird. The Invisibility Ability is exactly what we can expect. This weapon will make you become invisible. Right now, as I am using this weapon, I am essentially in a never-ending invisibility potion. And it's just that cool. It's basically the only weapon in Pixel Gun 3D that you can use that will make you invisible, and as you guys can see, it is very powerful. Now, I'm really glitching up in my Cleopatra snake right now. That's very odd. But this weapon is honestly one of those weapons that I can see that people may not like it right off at the very beginning, but over time, it will become one of the more liked and one of the better melee weapons out there in Pixel Gun 3D. You guys can see that as long as you can get those one-shot headshots to a max armored player, you will do a lot of damage. A lot of the times, you're not going to get those one-shot headshots though, and sometimes you're going to actually die. And you actually do die when you first get this weapon a lot of times when using this. I'm not even the best when using this weapon. I actually get a lot of really newbie deaths when using this weapon, although I have been getting progressively better as time goes on. Now, I do want to say this, a lot of people may not like this weapon. This is not going to be a weapon for everybody. This is not your same type of melee weapon as the Fire Demon, or the Dark Force Saber, or the Stormhammer. So a lot of people may not like this weapon. However, I do believe that this weapon could become the next Stormhammer. Not in terms of being overpowered, but in terms of the sheer number of players that actually prefer to use this. So it's really cool. I really do enjoy using this, and I mean, it's a really, really cool weapon. Now, the other really cool thing about this weapon here is the fact that this weapon gives you like a little last stand, a little last chance when using this. If you are holding down the firing button and somebody kills you and they are right next to you like that person was right next to me, you will be able to have one last final swing as you are dying, and you may potentially take that person out even though you have already been killed by that person. So that's another really cool feature with this weapon. It's not the greatest in the world. I mean, it's not going to like determine whether or not you're going to win matches or so, but at times, if you do get killed by somebody, you may be able to get that last kill with this weapon. So that's pretty cool. That's definitely another added bonus with this weapon. The only big downside with this weapon that I have found when using it is its pretty slow mobility. Now, you might seem that the 110 mobility really isn't that big of a deal, but when you do start using this in matches that you go into, that is a pretty big problem. That is why pretty much only maps like Silent School and Coliseum are the best ones for this weapon, because there's such a close range that there really isn't that much of a difference between 110 and 130. But even with that small difference in the mobility of this weapon in such a small map like this map that I'm in right here, you will be able to see that it's a little difficult reaching the enemy players before they end up killing you. Like, that was a perfect example right there. That guy may have not been able to kill me if I had used a melee weapon that had a higher mobility, like the Dark Force Saber. If I was going against this guy right here, I might have been able to kill him if I was using a higher mobility weapon. But since this weapon only has a 110 mobility, it is a little difficult to catch up to the enemy players when using this weapon. However, whenever you have a downside with a weapon, that always comes with a trade-off, and there's always the thing that this weapon does have the Invisibility Ability, so if you don't have the highest mobility, you'll be able to take them out with the invisibility. So that is very cool. Now, like I said before, this weapon does have that last little shot capability. Just watch. Whenever I'm using this weapon and I do have the charging like all the way down for my last shots, and I may end up dying, as you guys will see, I do get that last shot when using this weapon, so that's always cool. When I use this weapon, I actually tend to go hold this down to the very max. That's a lot different from some of the other melee weapons out there in Pixel Gun 3. Not melee, but charging weapons out there in Pixel Gun 3D. With the charge cannon and the charge rifle, I find that I usually charge it to about the 2/3 marker, but with this weapon, I end up finding that I charge it all the way down to the max. So it really depends on how you use this weapon. Like I said before, there are two different playstyles, and it really is up to you. Now, you will get killed by a lot of other weapons out there in Pixel Gun 3D, and it is very odd when you do encounter another melee weapon, because while that other player can be spamming their Fire Demon or spamming their Dark Force Saber or pretty much any other melee weapon out there, you have to time your shot just right. And you can do it the other way, like I have shown you in the past, where you can just swing it a bunch of times, but sometimes that's not the most efficient method, and a lot of people will end up killing you before you have a chance of getting this. If you do use this weapon in that method, you will find yourself getting a lot of kill assists when using this weapon, and I mean a lot of kill assists, because you're not going to be able to kill the people all the time, and most of the time you're going to get some damage to the enemy players, and the other people will be able to finish them off with either the Ghost Lantern or the Prototype at close range or other such weapons. Now, you might be wondering if this weapon is decent in some of the newer maps, like Spooky Theme Park or Pumpkin Island, and the truth is, it's not the best in those maps. Pumpkin Island is a borderline close to medium range. I'd probably say it's more of a medium ranged map, and because of this, you're going to end up getting better gameplay with some of the other more medium ranged weapons out there. Melee weapons don't work the best in Pumpkin Island. You're going to find your best gameplay with an area damage weapon or an assault weapon or a backup weapon. Now, you can use this in Pumpkin Island, and you can get kills with this weapon, and if you're lucky, you may even be able to win in the matches that you go into, but do not expect as good of gameplay in that map as you would expect in a map like Silent School. Spooky Theme Park is much bigger as well. That's more of a longer range map. It's more like Block Mart, where it's a little bit more difficult to find the enemy players, but you still can get the kills, and that is the most important part. I apologize for the little cut in the video. Unfortunately, my game crashed. I have found out that in this update that does cause a lot of crashing. I would like you guys to let me know down below in the comments if that does it for you as well. Does this update cause a lot of crashing? I'm not entirely sure. Maybe it's just my phone, but I have had a lot of times where this app has crashed in this most recent update. Hopefully it's not that big of a problem, but it has happened in the past. So yeah, continuing on with what I was saying, I would honestly recommend in some of the maps like Spooky Luna Park and Pumpkin Island, using this weapon as this weapon was intended to be not a primary weapon. Now, I'm going off of this review more so if you were actually to use this weapon the entire length of a match that you went into. If you were to use this weapon in a map like Silent School the entire time, I mean, you're probably not going to win every single match you're going to go into in those maps like Pumpkin Island, because it's just not the best for every single aspect of gameplay. So if you use this weapon as it was intended to be, as a melee weapon where you're using maybe your primary weapon or your premium weapon, the majority of the time you see people at range, you're firing at them, and then somebody pops out of nowhere to the side of you, you can quickly take your melee weapon out and finish them off with this weapon. So use it in that aspect and you will find that you will get some great kills when using this weapon. It is really cool having the thought that you actually are invisible with this weapon, although I'm not entirely sure how accurate and how well that will work for you. I actually find that in matches that I go into, people target the invisible people a little bit more so than the other average players, because the invisible players usually are proven to be more of a nuisance than the normal players. So sometimes when you go into matches and you use this weapon, you will find that you might get more deaths with this weapon than some of the other melee weapons, despite this weapon actually being the invisibility weapon. So it's a very interesting weapon in that aspect. And in all honesty, guys, I really don't have all that much else I need to say about this Sword of Shadows. The Sword of Shadows is a fantastic looking weapon, arguably one of the best looking melee weapons, in my personal opinion, in Pixel Gun 3D in recent time, and I would go as far to say that this is one of the more powerful melee weapons currently available in the game. Not the most powerful, because there are better melee weapons than this one. I would give this weapon probably a solid 8 to an 8.5 out of 10. It is a very good weapon, and you can get a lot of very good kills with it, but there are still weapons that are a little bit better than this weapon. So there are some that can potentially get up into that 9.5, and if there was one melee weapon that I would give a 10 rating, I'd probably give it to the Dark Force Saber. That one is probably the 10 rating melee weapon, the one that I would probably say is one of the best melee weapons out there. Although there are other really good ones as well that could easily become 9.5, like the Carrot Sword, like the Storm Hammer, like some of the other ones, like the Fire Demon and such. So yeah, I mean, this still is a fantastic weapon despite it not being the most powerful melee weapon. It is one of the most, and I really do enjoy using this one. I mean, this is one of those weapons where if you want to have something that is very unique, go right ahead and get this. You know that I do like uniqueness in Pixel Gun 3D. I'm not one who always uses the same weapons over and over and over again. And you know, it does get a little boring, truthfully, using some of those melee weapons over and over and over again. And it's nice having something that is different for a change, and this perfectly fits that criteria. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I have nothing else I really need to say, so I really hope you guys did enjoy this. If you guys did, make sure to smack that like button with your fist, and make sure to comment down below any other weapons you would like me to review. I will be reviewing the Dracula and the Napalm Cannon, and it depends on which ones you guys want next. That will determine on which one I will do first before the other, although I will be reviewing them very, very soon, and I do plan on reviewing several of the items in this game. I plan on reviewing the Demon Stone first, probably, maybe not first, but one of the first ones. I plan on reviewing the Reflector. I plan on reviewing the some of those other ones like the Pandora Box, and I'm not entirely sure every single name right off at the start there, but I do plan on reviewing quite a few of them. Have you noticed several times in this video, Cleopatra here, my snake, has been like glitching? I spawn inside my snake and it's very weird and kind of glitchy. I don't know, is that something that happens to you? It's kind of weird. Also, like I said, the lag is kind of a big problem. Does that happen to you? I really would like you guys to let me know down below in the comments. And if that happens to a lot of people, I could potentially try to bring this up to Really Soft and hope that maybe they'll actually fix something about it. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. If you guys did enjoy this Melee review, make sure to go check out some of my other Melee reviews I have posted to my channel. I have a lot of other ones. I did the Carrot Sword review, like I had mentioned before. The Dark Force Saber review is long overdue. I did that one back in 2014, and it has changed so much since then. I have a lot of other Melee reviews as well. Most recently, I believe, was the Zombie Head, and I can't jump up for some reason, and several others. So yeah, thank you all for watching. I'm going to get a couple more kills. Maybe I can get Cool Boy right here. Not entirely sure, but do be warned in the matches that you go into. If you do go into some of the matches that are a little bit bigger, and people can jump around a little bit easier, it is more difficult to use this weapon in the more tactical approach like I had mentioned before. So you're probably going to have to use this weapon in the more assault, more attacking type way, just spamming the swinging button and hopefully hoping that one of those shots will eventually take the enemy player out. But I'm not getting the best results right now because everybody is spamming a lot of the other area damage weapons, and area damage versus melee generally ends up resulting in the area damage being the winner. So yeah, thank you all for watching. I really hope you guys did enjoy this review. I actually tried this yesterday and I failed because my video file got corrupted, so hopefully that's not going to happen again. So yeah, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next episode.